Indiabulls housing finance is one of the top nifty gainers after reporting strong growth in all its parameters in the June quarter with a significant cut in its provisions. What were the key growth drivers in the quarter gone by? Let's ask the management. Joining us on the show is Vice Chairman and Managing Director Gagan Banga. Also, Shraddha Babla from a research team is here to steer us through the conversation. Shraddha, over to you.
Thanks, Agam. Mr. Banga, I understand that the overall loan book growth has come in at a strong 33%, but if you could tell us about how the growth in the individual segments have panned out in this quarter, whether it's home loans, LAP and your corporate book as well?
Yeah, so home loans have been the big driver for growth for us for the last few years. We are strategically moving towards a direction where home loans would contribute to about 2/3 of the book. We are at about 60% as we speak. And that continues to be the largest growth driver. So while the book has compounded by 33%, home loans have compounded by around 40%, and the other segments have compounded at about 20%. And that's really been our area of focus, and these have been the CAGRs now for the last 2 to 3 years for these individual products.
All right, and what kind of traction are you seeing in the affordable housing finance space? Would that have been a key driver of home loan segment?
Yeah, so right from inception, our average ticket size has been hovering between 2 and 2.5 million rupees, roughly 24 lakh of rupees as we speak. From a time where affordable segment was defined as home loans of below 10 lakh of rupees. Today, under the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, that entire definition has been rehashed. Today, homes as large as 1,800 square feet form part of mid-income group housing, and that's clearly our area of focus. So I would say a bulk of what we do qualifies for what is called affordable housing. We call it mid-income group housing, and that continues to be an area of focus. The government's subsidy program, coupled with the extremely large tax breaks that the government also gives to the segment, are definitely proving to be extremely strong tailwinds. There is also great level of affordability. Prices have been flattish in India for the last 3 to 4 years, while wages have been compounding at over 10%. So that has clearly impacted affordability and demand on the positive side. So I would say on the macro demand side, there's a very, very strong growth.
All right, and with respect to the stressed loans, if you could tell us how the movement has been in the LAP and corporate portfolios. Have we seen any deterioration in the asset quality of any of these books?
For the last now 8 quarters, our gross NPLs have been either flattish or coming down, and year on year over the last 3 years, in June 16 it used to be 84 basis points, last year 80, and this year 78 basis points. So the portfolio has been holding steady across all asset classes. There hasn't been any issue of any consequence. There is the transitioning of the accounting standard which the company has done from Indian GAAP to the new Indian accounting standards, or Ind AS as is popularly called. That transitioning has been very smooth. Under that, we create stage 1, 2 and 3 assets. Stage 3 assets are essentially NPL assets. And there again, we have been able to control that number at 78 basis points. So the key highlight, besides the performance highlight of the quarter, was the very smooth transitioning that the company managed from Indian GAAP to Ind AS.
All right, and are you looking at a further hike in the lending rates, especially after the RBI repo hike? And you also have HDFC, who's the market leader, who's announced a 20 basis points hike in the home loan rates yesterday?
Yes, so our ALCO regularly meets on the 5th of every month, and we will definitely take this up. Both the repo hike as well as the hike from HDFC, as well as how our costs are playing out, would be inputs into the ALCO, and We will announce the outcome earlier or latest by the 5th of August. But directionally, rates are on the way up. Only a part of the almost 112 basis points increase of the government securities has been passed on so far. So home loan rates would be directionally moving up over the next 1 year.
And just last question, if you could tell us what the value of your residual 19% stake in Oat North Bank now is. It was $236 million as of 31st March. And I also want to know if it's fair to assume that you are getting closer to an IPO.
Oak North Bank has just raised capital and is in a high growth phase and therefore would continue to consume capital. It has been able to build up a good quality of investors, and I think between existing and some high quality private names, its capital requirement should get taken care of over the next few years. The residual stake would be valued at about 2,600 crores.